those of you who got an invite, welcome to Nerd Prom.
No matter where in the world you are, we're all Nerds International. With the hyphen.
This show might contain things that you find to be offensive, like bad words and stuff. So if you're one of those people that are gonna get your itty bitty little feelings hurt, you might want to turn it off now. Because if you're one of those people that just wants to complain and do stuff like leave bad reviews on iTunes, guess what?
Fuck you. The Gathering of Dorks would like to thank their Patreon show supporters. Coming in at the badass motherfucker level, we have Juan Some Bees, Nick Lamblade, Michael Bubba Snap, Victoria Kirk, and Stefan Dragonspawn. Here's to you.
What is up? Welcome to the Gathering of Dorks podcast. You've been to the realm of profanity, alcohol, gaming, bodily functions, some other things that we talk about, and fuck you in the end. Welcome back for episode, I think this is 74. I'm Jaime, and joining me tonight
73,
is...
stupid.
Is it? I don't know what it is. 73, 74, something like that. We'll figure it out later. Anyways, that person calling me stupid is Willard. What's up, Willard?
Welcome back, James. Welcome back.
Yes,
to the
sir.
land of the living.
No, sorta. And joining us from the GM Hangout is Dave Scott. What's up?
Adult conversations will be had.
Fuck, here we go already with this bullshit.
Boom shotgun.
And also joining us from a fellow member of the Nerds International Network, the Dragons Toolbox, Stefan Dragonspawn. What's up?
Hey, nothing much. Beginning of another week.
Yep, definitely the beginning of another week. So, Willard.
Tuesday, where the hell have you been? Go ahead, James.
He's in Canada. It must be there Monday.
It's Saturday in Canada right now.
You want to go ahead and fill in for the absence of Blaine again?
I'm getting tired of picking up that guy's slack. You can email us at thegatheringofdorks@gmail.com. Find us on Twitter at TGODorks. You can find us on Facebook, facebook.com/TGODorks. Also, be sure to join us at the Nerds International Google Plus community. There you will find updates for when we will be doing any live streams on our Twitch channel, which is located at twitch.tv/TGODorks. Be sure to leave us an iTunes review. Get over to patreon.com/TGODorks. You know, it's a pattern of /TGODorks.
Yes.
You could probably put Pornhub/TGODorks and find something. And help the show. You can find links to all of these in the show notes.
Very good, Will. I'm proud of you. It's better than Blaine.
Things. I've always been better than Blaine.
All right, let's jump on over into what's happening. All right, what's happening time? Yeah, so my schedule is finally done being a piece of shit. It's still a bunch of bullshit going on, but at least I'm back to the land of living in normal hours. So we're back to doing this live stream stuff. How about you, Willard? What have you been up to for the last couple months?
Well, we played some more Evil and Torgy. I think we played 2 in the downtime while you were away. We recorded 2 SA Geekeries, which are available at YouTube.
Yep.
As far as the Evil campaigns go, one of them's edited up, one of them is about halfway, so maybe with here in the next, well, when I get back from my vacation next week, maybe those will be good to go, and we can throw those up on iTunes for download.
Right on. Dave, it's been a while, man. How you been?
You know, I can't complain. It's been a decent little time. I got to release that little product over there on Smiteworks for Fantasy Grounds and see the community play, you know, a 10-year-old product for Savage Worlds again.
Yep. And if you can't complain, you're on the wrong show. Sorry.
Oh, trust me. You guys are going to talk about F20. I'll have plenty to say.
Oh, okay. Stefan, how about you? We're in a somewhat regular game on Sunday mornings, but for the folks out there in listening land, how you been?
Oh, pretty good. We haven't talked in 2 days. Wow.
It's been a while, huh?
Yeah. No, it's been pretty good. So, house is going up and things are moving.
Right on. Yeah, I see the pictures of that. That's awesome. Okay, Twitter. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at jpearson71. Will, where can they find you?
You're muted, stupid.
You're muted, stupid.
You're muted, stupid. I should change my Twitter handle to that. Yeah. At Willard the Dork.
Stefan, how about you?
S_Dragonspawn.
And Dave, I'm not sure if you're a Twitter guy or not.
I have one. I don't really use it much, but it's at Coanon, COANUNN.
Well, I'm sure you use it more than Frank does.
Yeah.
Which is putting one tweet up after you've made one.
Every once in a while, there's this little dork statuary contest thing they'll do where you can get like a Mark Hamill as Luke or the Joker or something, and they want you to share it on Twitter. So that's why I have that shit.
Ah, gotcha.
Frank is still more prolific than Blaine.
Did you say prophylactic?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Okay, so in other news, as Dave, you guys are definitely a victim over on your show. G Plus events and doing the Google Hangout version of things has gone the way of the dodo. It's really kind of fucked people when they're wanting to be able to coordinate live events such as this. Yeah, we're going to try to find a way to make it more accessible, maybe like a public calendar and things like that, because it's just going to be a pain in the ass to try to do things when before you can get on G Plus and go, hey, events, when are they doing it? But can't do it now.
Well,
You can still schedule something with a specific invite to somebody, but the public events, the stuff where you could just say, hey, check out our events page, that's the part that really suffered the most with this change. So
you have to go back to classic Google, but
Yeah.
eventually that'll disappear too.
I did that, and it was almost a waste of time because nobody got to see the event. You know what I mean? So I was like, well, fuck. So the long and the short, if you're listening to this and if you'd like to join us live, which thank you everybody is joining us in chat again. We miss all you fluffer fuckers.
Neo Destiny 666. Is Frank one of those clowns walking around? Is that why he's not here?
No, because that would require movement.
Does he stick his thumb up people's butts?
Oh, possibly. So for those that I can't read the message, whoever sent that, that want to join us in chat and be able to see when we go live like this, be sure to subscribe to us on Twitch because you'll get an email notification, and subscribe to us on Twitter because you will get a notification as soon as we go live. So make sure you get onto that. There are no new iTunes reviews, but I do want to pimp out a new show to the network. These guys are going around. They're already making waves. I think they're funnier than hell. They are a couple of limey bastards out of the UK called the Tabletop Twats. Now, over there they say twat, and I guess it's just not that bad of a thing. But over here, we might as well call them the Tabletop Cunts. So,
I think the way they pronounce it, apparently it's a really nasty word.
yeah,
But the way we pronounce it here, it's not as bad.
They say twat, and I don't know, twat sounds so much better. So make sure you check out the Tabletop Twats. Thank you guys very much for joining the network. They are fucking hilarious.
I love listening to the tabletop meat curtains.
Tabletop roast beefs. So definitely check out their show. They're funny as hell. And let me put this out there to everybody in listening land. Send them questions. They will read anything. If you've heard their latest episode, I proved that they will read anything on that fucking show. So
Gary took you up on that.
yeah. So cool. Are we ready to get into what this episode is all about, fellas? And we ready to do this or what? Well, I am. So here we go.
Sure, why not?
Let's get on over into the argument of things. Here we go. Jim put in their tabletop dick mittens. Welcome back, Jim. Okay, so now, Dave, I will definitely say that this episode was inspired by the GM Hangout. You guys have a have an elbow pad that says Jaime on it, and you like to find my ribs over on that show.
You have a permanent bruise there, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Well, you're a great target because you love to hide behind that GM screen. So we got to come at you from the side.
Here we go. It might be time for a fucking adult conversation. All right. So
No, I don't want to.
But before we get into all that, Stefan actually wrote this in not too long before we stopped doing live shows. But I think it's a great thing, and I would love to talk about it a little bit. And I'd like to get Stefan, since you wrote it in, and Dave's opinion as well. Splitting the party. Wow, that's a great idea. What could possibly go wrong? Or is it just a fucking GM headache? What do you guys think?
Oh,
Depends on what system you're in.
yeah,
Really?
I think it could be a headache no matter what system. Some might handle it a bit better, but I think the size of the group might dictate that.
Depends on how drunk you are as a GM, because I know myself.
Yeah.
I'd get guys mixed up. All right, Jaime, you and Lindon are walking over here. No, dude, Will, I'm with Frank right now.
Will, I'm not even playing. Why are you texting me this?
I haven't played any one of Will's games, but somehow I get the feeling that this is not too far from accurate.
Oh, just listen to that one Horde of the Dragon Queens episode, dude.
Oh yeah.
Jesus Christ! Yeah.
I keep being told I'm going to be invited to a game, and Jaime keeps talking about it publicly, and then the invite never shows up. So.
Oh fuck!
Oh, here
God
we go.
damn it! You're right. And in fact, if I'm not mistaken, last time you were on, I told you I'd get you on to play a game of Star Wars because you haven't played that system yet. Well, when you come back on the show in 4 months, you can bitch about it again.
Fucker, I still ain't been on.
Me personally, splitting the party. Willard, back in our heyday that we loved to fucking reminisce about and chase the dragon and all that shit. Splitting the party was actually something that was quite fun. But thinking back on it, I think a big reason why it worked for us is because we had nothing but time.
Well, yeah, exactly. We'd sit there in your apartment for 8 or 10 hours doing nothing but gaming and smoking cigarettes and eating chorizo and eggs.
Yeah.
So
Fighting
it
over the
wasn't a
toilet.
big deal for Lindon and Blaine to go off and do something while me and whoever kind of sat back and drank a beer and listened. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's so different now. It's just the time constraints, because when you're talking about a 3-hour window to get on and play at night, as all of us have busy lives, it's a pain in the ass to make time for this, get on, and then, we're going to deal with Lindon and Frank first, and I'm sitting there for an hour and a half while they're doing something.
That and doing online gaming, I think that makes it 10 times harder to split the party.
Right. Not saying you can't do it, and obviously this isn't the GM headache part of it. This is more of the player side of it.
I think that an interesting aspect of the whole online environment is we don't all have wireless headsets. So when you're running something and you need Will and Steven, and I'm free for 30 minutes or whatever while it takes you to run that scene, I can't get up and walk around my house, because if I get too far away from my computer, I have no idea when you call out to me to say, "Hey Dave, I need you to do X or Y," or "Hey, we're gonna kick the scene to the other side of the table for a minute." So I think that is absolutely a big part of it. I think that as the technology grows, though, that might cease to be as big of an issue. When we see some of these programs like Roll20 already can be run from a tablet. If you were running a game on Roll20, I could carry my tablet around the house until it's my turn to do something. That's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So I mean, that definitely, that the old school, we're all sitting around the same table, and you guys get into a scene that's going to take 30 minutes, and there's 3 of us that need to do something. We can pull out a freaking deck of cards and go in the next room, play poker or go fish. It doesn't matter,
right?
Because it's all more about getting together and doing that cooperative thing that we all do. But when you're talking about the online space, it's just the tech's not there to do it. I think, though, it really does come back down to the system, though. Some systems are a lot more forgiving to it than others. Some systems, you've got to have minis on the table to run the game at all. There are some systems out there that are just completely unforgiving of Theater of the Mind. The Warhammer system, it immediately pops to mind because it was written so much to be built around their tabletop game. Well, here's just a way to role play within that world. And I think a lot of the players have built some Theater of the Mind stuff to go with it, because when we think role playing, that's more what we think. But there are some systems that I just don't think splitting the party works as easy, because in D20, in any of the D20 stuff, Savage Worlds, I can run 2 scenes simultaneously with 1 initiative order. You guys all roll up your initiative. Doesn't matter if we're card based, die based. On an 18, whoever has an 18 acts, and it doesn't matter which scene you're in.
Yeah.
And if we're running Theater of the Mind, I can run both scenes simultaneously.
Yeah.
And everyone's 100% engaged. It's a little harder on the GM, but it's actually not that bad.
I got a good experience a while back playing and split the party. The party actually decided, okay, we'll split. Some people need to complete this dramatic task with Savage Worlds to stop the ritual, and the rest, the bad guys are running back to the village to kill more villagers. Well, we have to stop them too. But each player was controlling more than one wild-colored character, so they each had something to do in the other group, luckily.
Yeah,
I could bounce back a couple of rounds here. Okay, this is one round for the dramatic task, then go back there. It even ended up with a chase, which was cool and awesome. But I was able to bounce back and forth. It was pretty awesome. I had huge room, though, for that, but it was one possibility, because Savage Worlds seems to be easy on the GM, as well as I think on the players being able to run a few PCs, not just one PC each.
Right. I think it's cool. Harrison Hunt from the Tabletop Twat, so we'll call him Harrison Cunt. He had it over on G+2.
Harry Cunt.
Harry Cunt.
Cousin to Mike Cunt.
Harry Cunt had it on G+. A lot of people talk about massive fuck-ups and bad stuff happens as a result of Split the Party. What are some cool, awesome moments where the party was split? Well, Stefan just gave a little bit of example, and I think that works really well when, if you're saying, well, I don't know, you're saying, well, maybe I got a wild card over here doing this, and I have a wild card over here doing this.
Yeah.
I like the idea, personally, back in,
even when they were running extras, too. Sorry, Jamie.
Yeah, that helps. But I like back in the day, even now, I guess I've done it before, too, where I split the party. I love seeing the reaction of the players going, fuck, I wish my character was there. What the fuck? I think that stuff is great. I love that stuff. And it's just like, too bad. You're over there with your dick in your hand in a horse trough.
Well, I mean, I had a great Split the Party episode last night. We were playing Firefly in Savage Worlds, and they decided we're going to leave the pilot on the main ship. We're going to put 2 people in one shuttle and go this direction, 2 people in a shuttle and go that direction. They all did salvage in different parts of a battlefield, and then they used tow cables in their shuttles to drag shit back to the ship and slingshot it into the cargo bay of the main ship. So I'm literally running a scene for this shuttle, and the main pilot all at the same time.
See, that's awesome.
And it was amazing. And the fact that, Savage Worlds is so, rules light, I can do that without having to worry about, okay, doodly, set all the minis up.
Yeah.
I can just very quickly go, okay, this is what you're seeing, this is what you're seeing. Both of you declare your actions. We'll just do the dice rolls simultaneously.
That works cool, too. And, yeah, I think you're definitely right. Because if you're talking, earlier you said depends on system, too. Here I go. Let me bash it a little bit. But if you're talking about a hit point punch bag game, and if it's splitting the party and there's any combat involved, and if it happens to be high level whatsoever, well, then that's when me and Will say, all right, you guys have fun in your combat round. Me and Will are going to go to the taco truck. We'll be back.
Exactly. What's the average? What's the average mid to high level combat take in D&D 5th Ed?
It's still a while. It's not as bad as 3.5 or anything, but it's still
not anywhere near as bad as it used to be. But it's
and 5th Ed is largely sped up from even 4th, which was sped up considerably from 3.5.
Yeah.
You know, they've made leaps and bounds to make that system faster, but Savage Worlds, it could be over in a round, it could be over in 30 rounds, you don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think
the worst. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I think the worst part is when the party is split, but then you have maybe 1 or 2 players who have absolutely no idea what to do. You don't even know yourself what you should have them do as a GM. It's like, but you're concentrating on this very important part, maybe of your plot, but you still want to include the other players, and then trying to bounce back. And I need some ideas, but then, and maybe that's when you need maybe the P break or whatever, a small break to try and figure something out. That's when I guess you can lose the flow. You hope that, okay, let's all get all your investigation done, and then get back to the other 2 players, and then you can keep going with the story.
I just like the fact that you said go and take a pee break to continue the flow.
Yeah, that's it. To find a situation, think about it, and get a beer, then you can get another pee break.
Yeah, exactly. So I love it. I love splitting the party. The Star Wars system, it works really well. Really, really well, splitting the party, because it's so narratively driven anyways. And you can actually do some very interesting things with that too, because if you're in a situation like, let's say Dave and Will have characters that are out doing, I don't know, Rhodian hookers or something, and Stefan's character's over here fighting stormtroopers. Well, let's say Stefan rolls enough advantage and things like that to do something really cool. There's nothing that says that he can't apply that to whatever's going on over on Will and Dave's side of things. So I think splitting the party in that system is like even better, because you could really narratively drive it even harder.
Yeah, it's just explaining it narratively. Okay, so I shoot 2 stormtroopers, and Dave and Will both get lucky.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that was one shot.
So let me ask you guys this, because this is that circular logic that you guys love on this show. Is it our fault that splitting the party isn't what it used to be? Because it used to be, we just sat here and talked about how you would split the party and it didn't matter. You could have a 30-minute, 40-minute scene where you're only dealing with half the people at the table, because we were all describing things. We all were in that moment, and the immersion, as Jaime likes to massage the balls of the game, to get, you had that was a big part of the hobby. As more and more video game players, more and more tabletop players, more people who are not role players necessarily jump into the hobby, are we becoming more meta gamers at the table, to where I can't sit and listen to you run a scene for Will and Steven, because all I'm hearing is, I rolled, I hit, here's how much damage I did. I rolled, I hit, here's how much. That's boring as fucking dishwater, dude. I'd rather go chop my dick off than listen to that.
Go take a pee break. And
No, I agree. I think that's something that we've talked about on the show in the past, is with getting this whole new breed or whole new generation of the World of Warcrafters and that kind of stuff. My advice is hand them a 4th ed D&D book and say, have your fucking good time. Now go away. That's how I see it.
I sometimes, think about when I used to game the first times in AD&D, and sometimes you still have people who put it in the mentality, never split the party. Even photo memes get to do that.
Right.
The old mentality that, that was the GM's aim, split the party, that way we can kill off players much easier.
Right.
But it's stemming maybe from the old mentality of GM versus players.
Yeah, exactly. The
I still
dungeon
have some
crawls.
of my players still joking and say, no, we don't split the party. Why? I'm trying to be a good GM, promoting what you're doing, being heroic, and
Right.
If you split the party, I'm not going to automatically go, oh, he's alone. Let's backstab him in the alley. No,
That's the guy who he's been separated from the herd.
That's it.
Strike quickly.
Exactly.
In comes a lion.
It's happened too often, where you got into the alley, dropped his pants, and just got raped.
Okay, wait. We just changed types of backstab here. I mean, I know we've got some modern games out there that deal with this, but really?
Well, that's my kind of
What's the
backstabbing.
difference about, removal of pants prior to backstab?
It's backdoor stabbing.
It's just a hit roll. Yeah, that's all. It's a touch attack.
Boy, are we going to do 5e grapple rules on this one or 3.5?
Roll that betting again. No, I mean, some of my players even jokingly sometimes still say, no, we're not splitting the party, and then they still split it, and they realize, I'm not out to get them.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's an old school first ed dungeon crawl mentality. Oh, look, that guy's trying to do something on his own. He's going to fall into the pit of lava. Moving on.
Exactly. Eric Lamoureux, in one of his campaigns, my character got separated by himself, but did his own thing, while the other characters, they were in a group, and they almost got slaughtered. I was doing fine.
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck?
But it's just because the other characters weren't using tactics,
I'm missing something in chat. I don't know where the hell this came from, but Morgan put in +6 Vorpal.
Sorry, we've been talking about tacos.
Taco of heart disease.
Yeah. The three of us have been talking about the
gaming stuff. Will's over there going,
tacos.
fuck yeah, man, I want some fucking...
Plus his beef taco of the
side and chatting.
Never split the taco.
Well, you have to, otherwise it won't slide in. All right.
Whoa.
I mean, between your
You talking about tabletop twats again?
Yes, exactly. Always split the twat.
Tabletop taco.
Okay. Here's the one that I'm ready. That I
Sorry,
said.
I'm back. I was busy in chat, but I had no idea what you guys were talking about the last 10 minutes.
Yep.
We were talking about getting Will butt fucked in the alley.
Oh, it's my hobby. I do what I want.
There you go.
Do something about it.
I saw the ads on Craigslist.
Okay, so this is the portion of the show that I definitely wanted to make sure Dave was on. I was really hoping that Scott would have joined us. He was going to try to join us, but I think he's got a work schedule that's not allowing him. It's getting him butt fucked in an alley, as Stefan would put it. So different play styles. Now, over on your guys' show, Dave, again, got the elbow in the ribs about immersion, and I know the GM screen thing was a great Devil's Advocate episode. I think you guys either actually fell for it, or you like just trying to hit me up on it. One of the two. Because Savage Worlds, I roll in the open. Anyways.
Oh, I'm aware.
Okay.
For that, he rolls in the
fact,
open.
Here's the thing. I will say this just kind of across the board. I haven't met too many GMs who, after about their second or third session of Savage Worlds, aren't rolling in the open because they know they have to reveal that shit to let the guy choose the Benny or not. Yeah. They're just saving themselves the time by removing that GM screen. They don't want to let go of it at first because it's so important in other systems.
Right, yeah. I mean, after I think 2 or 3 sessions on Fantasy Grounds of Savage Worlds, I did the thing, the classic thing of I had the dice tower up there. Ooh, you're going to roll your notice and you're not going to be able to see.
And all they see is the little ghost dice rolling through chat. And
got rid of that shit. But this is, okay, so this is something, I even spoke, I think Eric's in chat. I spoke with Eric.
You'd still use that for other systems, don't you?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would always use that for things like Warhammer, possibly Star Wars, that kind of thing. But
5e.
Yeah, definitely 5e. So something Eric and I talked about, and this is an example you guys use on your show a lot, Dave, is and he agrees with you guys, and I disagree for my immersion reasons, as you guys like to talk shit about. Do a notice roll to see if you can spot the 5 ninjas up in the tree.
Oh,
okay.
God,
it's a common example you guys use on your show.
It's the Ron Blessing thing. It started years ago, and it's kind of hung around. Yeah.
Okay, so I get it for the sense of
add Lindon.
We have Benny's. Okay, I get it from that regard.
Lindon's online, Jamie.
Oh yeah, I see him. All right, hold on.
Your face is online.
But
yes, it is. Thank you for
the thing about it is. Jesus Christ, it's going to seem like, oh God, here we go with this fucking again. Tell Lindon to update his fucking Skype because it's not allowing me to add him.
How vulgar way to send this text.
There's a part of me that still likes the immersive side of having the player I like the player to
not
be
know what's coming on the other side of that dice roll.
exactly like Stefan. When we play ETU, for example, my style is okay. Go ahead and do a notice roll. Do you want to Benny that? I always put it out there. Is like it's kind of a like you guys talked about on your show, Dave. Are you happy with that result?
Are you happy with that Benny bait?
Exactly.
Oh, fuck yeah, you have to do that. Yeah. You're not doing Savage Worlds right as a GM if you're not baiting the bennies and making them second guess that meta game decision of, is that dice roll high enough?
Right.
All they need is a fucking 4 to succeed. They rolled a 16. Are you happy with that?
Exactly.
You'll see them think.
Yeah.
They think about it.
Yeah, I've done a bit of the Savage Daddy tip of sometimes, okay, Benny's, no, not for soaking my bad guys rolls. No. Intimidate tricks and stuff like, yeah, I'll spend them for that. Yeah, I got bonuses for that. Cool. All right, now resist it or try to overcome it.
But, okay, so my whole thing, and this is the part where I wish Scott was on the show, because when Scott and Jared were on last time and we had our whole drunken argument and everything, one of the things that Scott had said, if I remember correctly, was, in the end, we all have to realize that we're just sitting down. I don't want to misquote him, but I thought he said we're sitting down playing basically a board game. If I'm misquoting that, I could be wrong. But there's something that's telling me that that's more or less the angle he was coming from on it.
Scott is massively of the opinion that the old school role play just doesn't really exist the way it used to in the hobby, and that a lot of the games today are written as a board game. That essentially, when we start talking dice, when we start talking minis, you're not playing a role playing game. You're playing a tabletop game.
Yeah, a tactical.
Oh, you're fucking wrong.
Maybe, fuck you, Lindon. Welcome to the show. Maybe that was the side. Maybe that was the side that he was coming from on it. But because to me, it's just like, I love, again, there's different GM styles. Actually different gaming styles, period. I don't like the idea of roll the notice check to see if you see the 16 ninjas that are hiding under the fucking sewer crate or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't agree with that style. I don't like that style because then...
I couldn't agree with you more, Jamie, because with me, with tabletop gaming, not playing a board game, for me, I don't care the system. It's all about character immersion to me. And if you sit there and tell me as a GM, hey, roll this dice to see if you see that tiger tank coming up the road. Come on, really?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't ruin it for my character necessarily, but it ruined it for me.
And
certain things, yeah.
Gary's
devil's
agreeing with that
here, because that's what you fucking brought me on the show for in this case, is, and I'm just going to ask you straight out, William. When we start talking about that tiger tank that's coming up the road, does the 5 seconds it takes you to roll that die and decide if you're keeping it really make a difference to your immersion? Because either you're going to spot it, and I'm going to say, hey, you see a tiger tank crest the hill, or you're not going to spot it, and I'm going to roll damage and say you're struck in the side by a shell from a tiger tank that crested the hill.
See,
it's not
I'll say this.
Your information in the game.
It's hard to argue with the way that you're putting it. Now, if you put it in a sense of, well, this tiger tank is 300 yards away and you hear something rolling, but you can't really see it, go ahead and give me a notice roll. I'm not going to tell you what it is.
But
if I see your point, like if it's like fucking right around the next boulder from you, I get that.
Well, yeah, but you wouldn't have to roll a notice just to notice the tank, but maybe to notice if there's actual crew in there, if its weapons might be active, that might be the notice roll might come into effect.
And that's a bigger aspect of the whole notice roll in Savage Worlds, and it's a meta discussion within the meta discussion, because really what people are talking about is, when should you require that notice roll? Is the notice roll to see the tank, or is a fucking tank in a goddamn field? You see it, but do you know, is there a commander sticking out of the hatch? Are all the hatches dogged? Are they prepped for combat? Yeah. Is the turret already pointed at you? Have they spotted you? Yeah. Is that the information the notice roll should really give you? The immersion comes from when does the GM decide to spring that tiger tank on you, rather than what you find out with the notice roll. And I actually come down on the side of, if there's a tank in the bushes and it's time for the party to see the tank, they see the tank. If it's
So I
not
even make them make a roll.
They don't, and I don't have them make the roll. I have them make the roll to say, oh, that's a tiger tank, series 2, it has this cannon on it, so they'll then know how to deal with it better.
Well, that's
those are the
different,
places
though.
I have the notice roll actually come in play, because Savage Worlds is way less about making rolls for shit that you and I agree on.
Bubba, if the GM has a tiger tank sneak up on you, then you need to leave the game.
The notice roll may be more for the notice roll would be more for to see if the tank is actually in operational mode, if it's or are 16 ninjas hiding behind it.
Yeah.
Just like
No,
that.
out of curiosity, when I run Savage Worlds, I kind of use I know Dave, you've never really played Star Wars, that system.
You're right.
Even I've started doing this too with D&D. Whenever I like to say make a notice roll, depending on how much you beat the set number by, Savage World, for instance, a 4, the difficulty class in D&D, or the opposing roll in Star Wars, is how much knowledge you know.
Oh, absolutely.
Like for instance, if I'll use D&D because it's what I'm most familiar with, the DC to spotting that tiger tank is a 15, but you roll a 19, but you have a +5, so you rolled a 24. Well, not only do you see it, but you see the commanders sticking out of the hatch on top of the turret, and there's about 15 German soldiers behind it.
And you notice the one guy in the center of the squad that's holding a Panzer Shrek.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. And Savage Worlds is predicated on this whole quality of success thing, that the more raises you get, the better the thing is. But carte blanche, that book only does that for damage. Everything else is pretty much capped at 2 successes. If you roll 2 successes on first aid, it doesn't matter if you roll 8, you still only heal 2 wounds. There's a lot of things in the game system that are hard capped mechanically, but notice and a lot of other stuff isn't, and that's where really that quality of success needs to matter as a GM. And some of the people putting out one-sheets, Savage Tales, etc., are actually putting in there, if you have the players make a notice roll for this is what they notice on 1 raise, 2 raises, 3 raises, 4 raises, and beyond. They're giving you that stuff. And one of the guys that does it the best is a friend of your guys' show, Eric. Eric did that and a lot of the stuff he's been working on, and it really does give that GM more stuff to work with at the table.
Well, yeah, especially like with especially in a skill like investigation, that can be huge, and I definitely agree with that. I think they actually do have that in some things where it's like, if they get a raise, a little bit more information or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I think that stuff is very important. Now, obviously, I don't know how much I missed when I went to go wiggle my Twitter, but
nothing. I'm useless. You know this.
Okay,
We were
hold on.
talking about
I
your
gotta-
wedding plans.
yeah, everybody's giving me shit. Fuck everybody in chat.
I gotta ask real quick about the topic. What was the initial topic going on right here?
This is different
Building the
gameplay
party.
styles.
Because whenever I first jumped in, the conversation was geared more towards the player immersion factor, as far as GM saying roll to see if you see X thing over there. Apparently now it's a tiger tank.
Right.
Well, or if it's just roll it, and then based off your roll, I'll tell you. You won't know unless I tell you.
It's an immersion factor is what I'm getting at, because I myself, Lindon, I know you like playing that way. Stefan, I think you're catching a small hint of me jamming that way when it comes to ETU. I don't know if it's really that apparent or not, but that's just kind of how I do it. Will used to really like being that way. To me, this is how I see it, and I could be completely wrong, especially when we're talking about Savage Worlds, but this is exactly how I see it. Roll a notice to see if you see the 10 ninjas in the tree. Okay, well, I'm reading a book, and it says right here they're about to start combat, so I'm going to go ahead 3 pages and see who won. And then I'll go back and see how it got there. that's kind of my take on it. I could be completely wrong, but that's just kind of how I see it.
Here's my opinion on it. Jamie, you're going to love this. When it comes down to this type of aspect as far as the play style and how you want to play it, if you want the player immersion or if you just want character immersion to where the players know everything, have an adult conversation about it.
Fuck you. No. We already said that. We set that shit down a long time ago. No fucking adult conversations on this goddamn show.
Drop him from the call.
Well, I'd like to hear some more about verisimilitude.
Oh, God.
And immersion.
So I'd be curious, though, Dave.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Did you ever use, like, if I know you've been playing Savage Worlds exclusively for a long time now.
Yeah.
Your history before that, were you like just the rest of us, D&D?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, D&D, Shadowrun, Warhammer. I mean, I played quite a bit, but it was predominantly D&D, and then up through like 3.5 and shit.
Okay, so in those other systems, what I'm getting at is, was Savage Worlds the system that made the immersion go away?
No, it just changed the way the immersion happens. So
how does immersion happen for you?
Yeah, what the hell is that supposed to mean?
Okay, so
explain yourself.
Immersion is the way.
Damn it! Explain yourself now.
Feel of the goddamn game, motherfuckers. Sit down. It's school
Will
time.
You actually say what we're trying to ask you here? Answer the question already.
And I am.
What's taking so long, Dave?
Take 5 minutes to take you aside, mister.
Yeah, you got an answer, Lindon. Well, let's talk about something else.
Mr. Morgan, meet me in the hall after class.
Let's have an adult conversation.
Yeah.
What kind of adult conversation do you want to have?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Let the guy explain. Come on.
The immersion has to come after the Benny. And the way you have to do that is, we talk about this in Savage Worlds a lot, is describe right up to the point the dice roll starts and wait until everything is resolved before you start description again. Immersion has to happen in that same method. When you get to the point where the dice roll's about to happen, immersion stops for 5 seconds, and you literally talk game, because that's what Savage Worlds requires because of the meta mechanics in the system. Once you're done and the dice rolls are on the table, it's final, we go right back into narrative storytelling. So the immersion happens differently because we don't try to hide the mechanics anymore. We just are immersed to the point that there's a mechanic need, and then we go back to being immersed, and we don't make dice rolls that aren't fucking necessary.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Okay,
but on what you're talking about right there, the immersion factor, that dice roll is going to determine the amount of immersion you have. You know, you're talking about you have the player immersion up until the mechanics aspect of it. Well, now that mechanics that you're about to do is going to determine who knows what, how much information you have, whether it be investigation, whatever it is. I mean, this could easily be, an investigation check as far as, well, you're questioning somebody, and okay, roll your investigation check to see if this guy tells you that he actually saw the murderer or not. Well, you're going to Benny it until you fucking get that investigation check going, or until you pass it.
I run out of bennies.
Well,
exactly.
Okay, so asking the guy, give me your streetwise roll to determine if this particular contact is lying. That's what I would ask the player in that situation. Specifically, give me a streetwise roll to determine if he's lying. You don't know as a player whether he's lying or not, and a success might mean that you can tell he's being honest. A success might mean you can tell he's being dishonest. It could mean either one. As a player, just because I phrased the question to give me a roll to see if he's lying doesn't tell you anything past that dice roll.
Hold on a second, real quick.
I can't do that, Lyndon. I love you, but I can't.
No, this is to Big B in the chat room. I have this here, and when that runs out, I have this here. So yeah, I'm drinking hard stuff too.
Okay.
Quit being a bitch.
Okay, I'll go get the tequila in a minute. But
fuck you.
You're all stupid.
I know, so think as you drunk I am.
David, let me ask you this, because you said screw. This goes back to what we talked about a little bit ago. Screw the GM screen, screw the dice tower, Jamie, as you said for Savage Worlds. But you said make a roll to see if he's lying to you, streetwise. I believe you said. Why would you tell them that? Why wouldn't you say, okay, give me that roll and the dice tower? Then you can see the roll. Oh yeah, okay. You just keep on going with the conversation. But if obviously if he passes that roll, then you tell him, you know what, you got a feeling that he's lying to you.
Or I'm going to tell you, you've got a feeling he's not lying to you. Your success does not necessarily mean that what you're finding out is yes or no, he's lying. What you're checking for, is he being honest or not?
Hold on.
The result of the dice roll doesn't change what's actually happening in the scene.
Okay, but what Will's getting at, and I agree with this, especially in a D20 system, I 100% agree with this, is if Will says, I want to know if he's lying to me or not, and the GM rolls it in the dark, or if you're talking Fantasy Grounds, the player rolls it in the dice tower and everything like that, the player has no idea what his result was. Therefore, the immersion is a different avenue than what you're saying, because you can go...
You can't have that in Savage Worlds at all.
I agree.
It does not exist.
I agree, but in every other system, I think it's absolutely justified, 100%.
Here's the catch that I see in that, where I almost agree just a little bit here with that guy.
You're about to get dropped from the fucking call, dude.
But what I think the best way around this, kind of like a compromise, would be in the wording that you use. Because like in that situation, trying to find out if somebody's lying, you don't say, well, roll a streetwise check to see if you know he's lying to you. Roll a streetwise check to see if he's lying. Because the catch is there. Sometimes, have them make rolls when when a roll's not necessary. If they're already thinking he's lying and he's not, but they think he might
I
be.
leave that to the players.
Exactly.
Players will ask for dice rolls all the fucking time because they want that extra little piece of information in that moment. The player has it in his head that this CI is lying to him, so he wants to do a streetwise roll. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Give me that roll to see if he's lying to you.
Yeah, no, and all my...
I already know he's either truthful or he's not. And if he's truthful, I'm going to ask the question the exact same way, because to me, that's where, as a GM in Savage Worlds, I protect the immersion of the player. Is I always phrase the question to indicate that this could be what you think it is. It could be something completely different. And
so in other words, what you're saying is you don't ask the question, roll a notice to see if you spot the 5 ninjas hiding in the tree.
I wouldn't know.
Well, in my experience, all the time, players have asked me the question in situations like that. They're speaking to someone. Is he lying? I want to see if he's lying to me, or I want to see if there's an actual trap on this door. Or
roll it.
Okay, roll it. Then you roll it. In usually D20 systems, well, roll it, and I'll see the result myself and interpret the results. Like, yeah, as far as you know, he's telling you the truth, or as far as you know, no traps are on this door.
And it
or
seems
there
to
are
me,
no
I
ninjas.
want to
You don't
know,
spot
Stephen.
any ninjas.
Stephen, I want to know why what you're saying right there is impossible in Savage Worlds.
that's what I was just going to say. It seems to me not impossible, but by the way,
No.
the way Dave is describing it, and I totally understand, is there's this line between, let's take the classic trope, character knowledge and player knowledge. There's this line that's drawn in the sand, and it's up
Which
to
is actually what Eric just brought up in chat.
Okay, so yeah, it's up to the player to keep himself immersed in that sense, where in Savage Worlds especially, that's a much more defined thing, I guess you could say.
Yeah, in this case, the onus is on the player. So because he has to know, does he spend that penny or not, for the notice roll, for the trap detection roll, whatever it is, and then no matter how much goading you say, are you satisfied with that roll? If he does or doesn't spend it, then you have to tell him, whatever the result or interpretation of that roll is. Yes, you did detect traps or not, but he has that bending mechanic. Or any other system, I've played other systems where people can play points or hero points to get better results. Well, in that case, they need to know, let's say, the result beforehand, and not just hide it behind a screen and say, well, okay, you don't detect anything.
I gotta say, for me personally, I guess in this situation, as a player, I would just, it's easier for me to stay with my character immersion if player knowledge and character knowledge, I mean, for a lot of it, I can differentiate. Player knowledge, I know what a fucking, bugbear is. Character knowledge, I don't.
Yeah, your character has never experienced that creature before.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. But as far as things like, with the notice, with things like that, I understand in Savage Worlds with the Benny aspect to it, it's more beneficial for the player to have a little bit extra knowledge.
Yeah.
Me personally, in my own opinion, as a player, I would rather not have the knowledge.
So
I agree.
Take the die roll as it goes.
You guys are talking a lot about the Benny. Where the problem exists is the target number. And a lot of F20 games, a lot of the games that are more that style, DC isn't known by the player on the roll.
Very true.
In Savage Worlds,
Yes.
it's a fucking 4.
Yeah.
You know before you ever pick up the die that plus or minus your modifiers, you need a 4 or better. You need their parry or better. That's it. You know that before you do anything else. The Benny mechanic, sure, it plays a big role because the player has to know how important is this roll. Do I want to spend one of my limited commodity bennies on it? But they already know success or fail based on how they rolled against a 4.
And that's a huge...
E20, that target number might be a 27. It might be a 15. They don't know.
And you're absolutely right. That is a huge thing right there, where I guess in that sense, Savage Worlds probably has to be, at least in my experience of games that I've played, the most meta system that there is. And that's probably the best way I've ever heard it put. So then let me ask this, because again, talk all the shit you want. I love immersive play. Going back to the whole thing of roll to see if there's a Panzer tank over there. Well, guess what? I love the idea better of the player doesn't know and his character doesn't know, and he does all of a sudden find out because there's a fucking shell shoved halfway up his ass.
So here's what I would suggest to you, Jamie. Any situation where you want immersion in your Savage Worlds game, it's an opposed roll. You hear a rumbling in the bushes, I need a notice roll to determine what it is. But wait, and the GM rolls to set a target number for whatever the situation is, whether that's the stealth of the tank driver, the knowledge battle of the tank commander, I don't care. Pick a stat from your opposed side, have them roll. If it's a freaking lock and you know it's a moderate lock, roll a d6 and use that to set the target. And then at that point, the player doesn't know because they aren't working with a static 4. That would just be an easy house rule to protect immersion for you.
That's actually a really good idea.
I like
one
it.
thing we haven't really done yet is we haven't explored, and Ant has blown my phone up about this. We haven't changed that target number for different situations. It's always remained a static 4, which any of us who knows, even common sense says, that target number is going to be different, varying to situations.
I think in Savage Worlds, from my limited experience, can correct me if I'm wrong, for those types of situations,
You're wrong, goddammit. Next.
Yeah, I figured. But the standard way to differentiate the static number of 4 is going to be there's modifiers to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you add a +1 or a +2, -1, -2, and you either add it to the roll or you add it to the number 4, and either way you do that, the character won't know.
That's the spot where you're wrong. Savage Worlds requires that you tell that modifier to the player because it ties directly to the player's Benny mechanic. They're rolling that die. They have to know whether they hit a 4 or not, so they know whether to spend that Benny. They have to know if they hit the 8 or not because they were shooting for the raise. They know, and to know to spend that Benny. That's the problem that you guys are having with getting the immersion you want, is because that number has to be known for that meta decision that's built into the fucking game. And it's not you guys wanting to do something that Savage Worlds can't do. It's Savage Worlds was designed for this fast, furious, fun play style, and they put fun at the end of that. It's fast first. Everyone knows the target number. You don't need to roll the die and then ask the GM, did you succeed? You roll the die and make the decision. I succeeded or I failed, drop the Benny.
So let me ask you this then. How do you feel about my style on the notice roll? Instead of saying roll to see if you notice X, I just say roll a notice.
I noticed that burp, that's for sure.
I think that what you're doing works great for ETU, would work great for Call of Cthulhu. It works great for a game where I'm trying to set up a very, very unknown entity out there in the world where the players are supposed to be shocked by something. I think for my Firefly game, it's the worst thing I could fucking do in the world, because that's supposed to be a pulpy, more cinematic, over-the-top game. That's the feel you're going for. That's another part of Savage Worlds, is because it runs the gamut from we're going to do D&D tonight, but we're playing with Savage Worlds, to we're going to do Call of Cthulhu, but we're playing Savage Worlds. Because you can do that, Savage Worlds has to be malleable enough to play your way and the way I've talked about pretty exclusively, that's heavy meta, heavy cinematic. The players know when they're going to succeed, so they can do the bare-fisted against the guy with the machine gun and win.
Right.
All I heard was bear and fisting.
Bareback.
Blah, 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 Will's a dirty slut.
I thought that was my job.
Yeah, Stefan's the bareback guy. No, you know what? And you're absolutely right.
Dark alley.
In a dark alley, rolling the grapple from behind.
Lindon suddenly wonders what he missed.
It's a good thing my arm.
Yeah, look at Lindon. He's like, what the fuck?
It's a good thing my arm counts as a reach weapon.
It's improvised in Savage Worlds.
Yeah, that's it.
Remember, it's a multi-action to give the reach around.
You know what? That's actually that's totally awesome. That gives me a whole new way of looking at it, especially with Savage Worlds, because I've been playing it for a year and a half or whatever, and I still consider myself to be very new to it. But the opposed roll idea is a great way, I think, of allowing that immersion factor, because like Lindon and I are doing a Stefan's gonna like this. We're doing a one-on-one game. It's fantasy.
In
Oh,
that alley.
Sorry, Stefan. Lindon and I are having a one-on-one fantasy.
Ooh, okay.
And,
Are there candles involved?
Can I hold the camera?
all I can say is that there's candles, duct tape, and an underwear band. Okay.
See, now there's fan fiction. Once you put that much information on the internet, there's automatically fan fiction.
And last time we got together, we were talking about a camera for next time.
There you go.
Yes.
You can find them at pornhub.com/TGO Dorks.
I am the Dragonspawn.
But it makes me
shut down Pornhub permanently.
yeah. But it makes me really. I think, especially with Lindon being the type of player he is, and me liking the Savage World system, and liking being the immersive GM as well, I think that's going to work out great. Dave, this is the last time you're going to come on the show, because last time you came on, you also made sense, and that's something that we don't do on this show.
Not fucking allowed. You guys got to stop inviting people who know what they're doing.
Hey, Jamie.
Huh?
Never mind. I'll save that joke for off air.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Now, but Lindon, this is something that Lindon and I have talked about, and it's kind of along the same lines, but sort of different topic.
Is it the question I brought to you?
Whose job is it to have, how'd you present it, Lindon?
Point blank. Is the GM playing the game?
What do you mean?
I think it's different at every table. I don't think that's a system question.
No, it's not. No,
I think that it's absolutely group by group based.
It's like, okay, say all of us right here, the 5 of us get together to play a game. Jaime is the GM. We can all agree that it's his responsibility to bring an adventure to us and to, for us to have fun with, right? is it our responsibility to in turn make sure he's having fun with it too? Is he playing the game or is he just running the game?
No, I think he's playing the game. It's important that the GM plays it as well. He's not just running it. He has to have fun.
Two of the primary game masters who I've played in their games recently are at the opposite ends of the spectrum.
Oh.
It's just that simple. I've got one guy, it's his fucking story. He brings it to the table. Your job is to find a reason to be involved in it. The other GM is he expects you to add as much to the story as he does.
Okay, someone broke Jaime.
I'm sure it was me. Something I'm not aware of.
Or that or the chat.
Oh, carry on.
But to
all that's going to be left is stuff for carrying.
No, to come back a bit to Lindon's when he was saying about character knowledge and versus player knowledge.
Oh, that one's done. That's gone.
Okay, fine.
Dude, this
We're
is
in
a circular
we're gonna
logic
argue in a
fucking
different
show. We're
circle
coming
now.
back around.
No, we're arguing in a different circle.
Yeah.
We're arguing an oval now.
All right. Have to break a couple of eggs anyway.
Fucking wall. Text messages are a bad thing for podcasting. What were we saying?
I have no idea anymore.
GM is a player.
Yeah.
Anyway, what was your response there, David?
Like I said, I know two different GMs that come down on opposite ends of it. One is very much, it's my story. You're here to fucking play in it. Your job is to come up with a reason why your character gets involved. I am not throwing out an extra plot hook designed to get Will invested in the story this week. It's Will's goddamn job because he decided to come play in the game for his character to be invested in the story this week. Another GM I know will specifically throw, here are the 9 plot hooks, what do you guys do? And then he reacts solely based on what the players bring to the table.
You know, okay, so let me bring up this. God damn it. Yes, it's something I think we discussed on the last one about player agency and blah, 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 blah. But something I mentioned to Lindon is this ETU game that Zesri in chat is playing with us, Gary, Stefan, and Jim, and Maite, all in chat. What's really cool and fun about this game to me is I'm dealing with players, because I kind of agree with that, Dave. It's something I think that even in chat you had said, if we're playing this module, it's the player's responsibility to say, I accepted the fact that I'm playing this module and I'm going to stick with the story. Yeah. But as a GM, you have to have enough flexibility to go ahead and still let them do their own thing. But the players, it's their job to go ahead and bring themselves back to the main plot. Does that make sense?
But on that level too, it's, you know, you and I had talked about this. It's basically, you know, as a GM, you know, you have your players create their own characters, and then you have to give them information about the story, you know, the quest you're going to want to run. The bare bottom basics, the, you know, okay, we're going to be righteous zealots, you know, heroes of the land. You know, that's who, that's the type of, that's
all I heard too.
Considering he's private messaging me during this, that's interesting.
Carry on, Lindon.
Anyway,
Nothing to see here.
But you have to give the characters a chance to create characters that want to be in your story.
Say that one more time.
Well, yeah.
So you have to give a chance for the players to create their characters that want to be in the story.
I disagree. I agree, but I disagree. And this is why. Because the setting, 9 times out of 10, will define that for you. And the ETU game is a very good example, because when we started that game, it was make whatever the fuck you want to make. And then I told all of them, Dave, you've I don't know if you ran all the degrees of horror, but I know you've at least attempted it. I told these guys from the word go, this first one for Sweat Lodge is a fucking railroad. Trust me, go with it, and it'll open up and allow you to do your thing.
Which was fine with me. I mean, we need some kind of an intro kind of to the setting anyway.
Right.
So yeah, it's a little bit of railroad, fine, but it didn't seem like, okay, this is the other encounter that Jamie's putting in front of us. Deal with it. Okay, now you have to deal with this one and deal with that. No, you can't go there. No, some of us were able to do a few different things, independent things.
Yeah, Gary's
And even
character did a topless kissing booth.
Yeah. For a while, even my character was questioning whether he should continue a little bit, but I tried to find a reason. Yes, he should try to find it, not just go like, no, my character doesn't believe in supernatural stuff, so he's gonna keep just putting his nose in his books, and that's it.
Right.
No,
Yeah, but
he needs to be involved in the story. That's why I created him and agreed to play in Jamie's game.
well, no, I understand that, but I'm talking about a more basic level. Just take D&D, because D&D is fantasy, pure and simple. It's all it is.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to play D&D. Everybody create a character. Okay, well, I'm going to create a paladin. I sit down and the GM tells me we're playing an evil campaign.
Okay.
Or doesn't tell you, and now you've got a paladin in an evil campaign, and you're fucked.
Yes.
All right, anti-paladin now.
So- An interesting thing, because this is something that the audience won't expect from me, where Savage Worlds absolutely sucks. Every plot point they've ever released is a fucking railroad for the first 1 to 3 adventures. Every goddamn one of them. They do not know how to write an opener for that system. I don't know why it's a failure. I don't know if it's somebody picked up the first plot point campaign that was ever released and they've just been kind of following that pattern for all the other ones. But every single one of them, that intro is as railroady as fuck, to the point that, I mean, Deadlands, the first thing you will ever do in a Deadlands plot point campaign
Don't tell me about the flood.
is be on a train.
The flood. Yes, you're literally on a railroad.
That's it.
Starts you being on a railroad.
But you know what? I like that. And ETU, playing Degrees of Horror, it really made me like that even more. And for the reason of, it didn't have the standard situation of why are we all together. It gave you a reason. It makes your character become involved with the story, unless they want to be complete fucking assholes. Oh, fuck that shit, I'm out of here. Well, why the fuck are you playing?
Yeah,
but it has all the elements to make the group do what the plot point campaign is intending to do.
Yeah.
It takes player investment. I mean, that's obviously a huge one. It's not a player going, ghost, fuck ghost, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately, it's the session 0 aspect of it, though. You have to have that moment where you say, hey, guys, bear with me as we get through this first one that's a railroad, and it'll open up. But here's the information you need, like Lindon saying. They need to know. I can't sit down, I'm going to run ETU and say, roll up college students. They need to know, roll up college students that would get involved with ghosts and goblins and vampires and werewolves. They need that level of basic understanding of the world you're going to play it. I can't say, roll up 5 standard modern characters and then throw you into Hunter the Reckoning. Because you're not a standard person in that game. You're a goddamn hunter that goes out and seeks the things that bump in the night so you can bump back.
Yes.
If you don't know that, you can't build a character that's got an emotional investment to become a hunter.
And so that actually brings me to another thing, which is we're about to start up a Ripper's Resurrected campaign, right?
Absolutely.
Now, Will's intention is to play a guy from the United States who's basically on the run from the law, if I'm not mistaken, and we have to figure out why he winds up in London specifically. But the other part of it is, Will, is why is he going to be a Ripper? And now this is the important part of the Session 0. Why is he going to become a Ripper? Or is it going to become a Rippers? What the fuck is that? Oh my fucking God. What? I don't want nothing to do with this. Holy shit. Jesus, I'd rather go sit in a church for 6 months.
Well, coming from where he's going to be, which is Tucson, Arizona.
Is his name Pax?
No, his name's Vance. Actually, it's not it's Vance. But he doesn't know anything about the Ripper thing. All he knows is the American Southwest and being an outlaw. And once he gets there and sees this, it's just going to be how he takes it as it goes. I don't know yet.
But-
I'm not going to. Again, we've been through this conversation before about character creation. I'm not going to write. What are we up to now? 1,755,687 pages of background.
88, yeah. Sorry. 88.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. I'm stupid.
That's 50 pages of index.
But the thing is, you're going to make a character who's going to go with the story, correct?
Absolutely. I'm not going to. That's why I wanted to make a character who is naive, but still kind of chaotic in a way to where, yeah, that worked for me, but we'll see how it goes.
So Jared and I have been doing this thing for about 6 months now, where we tell everybody, if you can't give me your entire character in a paragraph, you've overthought it. And the reason is, I want you to not know your character until session 1 is over. I want that character to come alive in the game. You've left yourself so much open area on the character itself that character becomes who they are personality-wise during the game. Now you didn't have to pre-bake a reason to be involved. You created it on the fly.
Now,
Sorry, go ahead.
under that aspect, though, the way I approach it, no, you don't sit down with a character, with, a 2 billion, page story about who this guy is. But you need to sit down with your character. I mean, I don't personally like sitting down not knowing who this guy is. I may not be able to write anything out. I usually don't write anything out beforehand, except for my stats. But I have it in my head as far as the type of character he is. What brought him to the point of, in D&D, becoming an adventurer. And that's really my basic experience. But but in any system, what brought him to this
I play D&D.
of not having a home and not wanting to stay somewhere, not being comfortable with who he is.
Yeah, you want to make sure the character's not a murder hobo with no friends, no family, no roots. The classic D&D trope character. You want to make sure you've built something better than that. And I get that.
Not even that. I want to have a character who is willing, who is open-minded. And that would go into any system, who is willing to go on an adventure, because no matter what system you're playing, it is a quote-unquote adventure that you're going to go on, whether you're actually going far or just staying in your fucking hometown.
Well, that's what I did with... Right. Sorry.
But, so, talking about it as far as I don't want you to know your character really until the end of the first session, to me, that makes that first session so fucking choppy and so just hard to get into it and get the quote-unquote player immersion or character immersion. You can't get that immersion into your character and switch your mind into who this person is if this person doesn't exist yet.
No, but that's a part of exploring it. I mean, the character I created in Jaime's ETU game, I just got the bare bones. He comes from a small town, son of a reverend with fairly big family, but I didn't sketch it out any more than that. And I've added a few things more along the lines, writing up some little journal after each adventure, and I'm finding some background to him and little quirks and stuff that can be developed later on. I didn't write it all up in advance, but this allowed me to incorporate some elements, like, okay, maybe part of his family from Louisiana is involved a little bit with supernatural elements, so that can tie in with the whole ETU campaign. I didn't plan that out ahead of time.
It's kind of like how, part of my party from Saskatchewan knows about making...
that's a big word.
Lindon, I know you and we had a lot of conversation about this, and it was much more expansive and all that stuff before. What else did we really say about all that? I know that a big part of it was, no, you're the player, it's your job to fucking go with it, but you're the GM, it's your job to make it fun for me. I don't remember exactly, but wasn't there more to it?
There was a lot of give and take in there.
Yeah, the whole catalyst to it is just coming down to is the basic question of, is the GM playing the game? Because by definition, the GM is running the game for the players. A good GM is reactive. I mean, I've done it only a couple times, so I have probably the least experience among all of us here about being a GM. But am I right there? A GM is a reactive person.
Yeah, oh yeah. You have to be.
Yeah.
You can't just say, no, that's not going to work.
No, he sets up the initial situation at the beginning of the session, but then he has to react to whatever the players do. But also has to push the story along if there seems to be a lag.
Yes.
Maybe giving hints or.
But I think even that is a form of reaction. If you've got a bunch of players sitting there with that deer in the headlights look, as a GM, you've got to know when to hit them with the cattle prod to get them moving.
Yes.
The clue by 4.
Yes.
So, how much responsibility does it rely on the players to actually make sure that, okay, they're going to jump on the railroad every time the railroad is presented? Anytime there's that, where it's the obvious, oh, hey, look, here's the fucking hook.
Yeah.
Come on, grab the hook. Is it the player's responsibility to jump on it every time it's there?
So here again, I'm going to say I think that's very dependent on the system. If you're playing an F20 system, it's your goddamn job as a player to get involved with what the DM just put 3 weeks of fucking prep into. Because sometimes that's what it takes to prep these games. You've got some systems out there are so fucking math intensive to lay out, how many goblins are in the room, what's the DC of the trap, how deep is the pit so that it doesn't, so it does X amount of hit points off the top of the character but leaves the character alive afterward. You have to sit and do
escape from that game.
You have to sit and do a lot of almost calculus level math sometimes because you're guessing what the players are going to do at each stage so you can set that next room or whatever up. Mm-hmm. In that game, it is your goddamn job to get involved with what the GM created because they just can't do that level of prep in their head, out of their ass, at the table when you turn left instead of right and say, we're not taking your plot hook, we're going to the next town over and doing something else. Whereas in a game like, I believe Fantasy Flight's exceptionally narrative. I know Savage Worlds is extremely fast. Those systems react better on the GM side. It's a lot easier for me to go, all NPCs roll a D6 for their primary stuff and a D8 for their specialty stuff. It doesn't matter where you guys go, I can throw the appropriate NPC in your way in Savage Worlds. In D&D, okay, what are the stats of every monster that you guys might face when you're level 6 as a level 16 party? And I have to keep all that knowledge in my head. Yes, there are those really analytic GMs out there that might be able to do it, but reacting on the fly in some of those systems is so hard. I think it's a dick move by the player.
Or you have to have all the books, okay, they got off the rail, I need this new monster that's about their level, that's it.
That's the
You already know combat could take, we already know a D&D combat might take 3 hours to roll. If it's going to take me an hour to prep it and then 3 hours to roll in a session because you decided to turn left instead of right, you just added another hour to the length we have to play tonight.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. So, I think all in all, the long and the short of everything we're talking about is play the fucking game you want to play. And Dave, I seriously am glad that you gave that suggestion about the opposed rolls because it's something I rarely think about other than, test of wills and that kind of thing in Savage Worlds. I think that's a really good idea for keeping the immersion alive in Savage Worlds.
Stealth.
Yeah, that's a really good thing on that. So, okay. All that being said, it's been about an hour and a half or so. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. We'll be right back.
What now?
What now? Let me tell you what now.
I love my computer so much as the longer the podcast goes on, it takes longer for my hand to go, I'm supposed to play this file. Thank you, everybody, very much for joining us. Lindon, thank you for showing up last minute. Dave, Stephanie, thank you guys both very much.
Thank you for having me.
It wasn't as much argument as I had hoped, Dave. Once again, goddamn it, you show up and make sense, and that pisses me off. But
maybe you should invite dumber motherfuckers on the show in the future.
Yeah, speaking of which, Brian will be back on Thursday.
Tabletop twats.
Yeah. But no, in all seriousness, Blaine. I think Blaine comes home on Thursday. I'm fucking
Finally.
stoked. The guy's been gone forever. I miss Blaine. You probably won't ever hear this fucking episode.
And then, you know what? And then I'm taking him to Brokeback Mountain for a week. So,
Again, can I hold the camera?
He's like, holla! So,
Fuck, Will, I didn't know you guys were coming to my backyard. I got to clean up.
shit. Thank you everybody for joining us, chat. You guys once again. There was a couple of moments that you guys made me laugh there, just a little bit, just a smidgen.
Yeah.
Coming up, we have our next live show on the 20th. At least I think that's what you had in the calendar, Will.
sounds about right.
We'll figure out what the hell that episode is going to be about, and we won't have Dave on the show. That way we can argue circles and just be fucking stupid. That's the whole.
And I'll tell you right now, I won't be there.
Now we're going to be even stupider.
I thought that was going to bring the IQ up a couple points.
It may.
That's the problem. It doesn't need to come up for the show to be entertaining.
No, the show. The IQ
Then it
needs
becomes
to
too
drop.
informative, and that doesn't work for your format.
No, not at all.
So Gary to come over.
Yeah. So join us on the 20th for a live show. And yes, I will give a shameless plug to my other show, The Wild Die. Make sure you join us on October 15th. We're doing a live stream with John Goff. He is going to be playing in his own game, Deadlands Noir. It's going to be pretty cool for The Wild Die. So looking forward to that. If you guys have anything you want to hear us argue about and be stupid about and all that other shit, please email it to us at thegatheringofdorks@gmail.com or get a hold of us on the G Plus page. And I don't know, might consider running the Rippers game over Twitch live. We'll see how that goes. We'll see if it happens. I think it'd be kind of fun. So yeah, anybody got anything else they want to add before we get out of here?
Want some? Everybody is.
SA Geekery is alive and well. Get over to YouTube and check that out.
Yes.
What can I say? The GM Hangout happens every week, every Wednesday, same time, same place. It's always going to be available on the same YouTube channel and through iTunes. And more than likely, we might have Scott around, we might have Chris around, but Jared will be there every week to, drive Jaime batty with, rules changes and things that you're not allowed to do as a GM or things you're supposed to do as a GM that Jaime never does.
I should get on there
now
just
you
to
guys
argue
know
with
how
them
to
about the
avoid
shaken rule. Stephanie, got anything else?
Rules. Just my my blog, the Dragons Toolbox. You can check on the Nerds International Google Plus page for the link.
That's right.
I try to be semi-regular.
So cool. With all that, I'm very interested to see what Will can come up with this week. This is Jaime saying, grab some beers, grab some friends, and make it one hell of a game night.
Poop shotgun! Poop shotgun!
Google it now.
Google poop shotgun. All right. That's it.
After that, I can't drop the Stay Savage because that's far more savage than anything we talk about.
Lyndon, you got yours?
Poop shotgun slug.
You got yours, Lyndon?
Yeah, poop shotgun slug.
Oh, okay. Stefan, anything you want to do to wrap out?
Yeah, the rules aren't written in stone. Break them for fun's sake.
Right on. We will catch you guys for whatever the hell the next episode's supposed to be. Bye-bye.
That's it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Goodbye, goodbye. Wipe the tear, baby dear, from your eye. Though it's hard to part, I know. I'll be tickled to death to go. Don't cry, don't sigh. There's a silver lining in the sky. Bonsoir, old thing, cheerio, chin chin, na poo toodaloo, goodbye.